Hi, I'm Dave Allig of Tornado Grain Spreader. Proud to introduce the next version of the Tornado. We're calling it the Ricenami. We've been experimenting with this for over 2 years now down in Texas. Rice has very different flow qualities compared to corn and beans, so we changed the design a little bit to accommodate for it. We gave it a little bit steeper slope. We added a deflector up here in the top to help split the rice as it comes down so it will flow better. All the components of the spreader that touch the grain are made of stainless steel to help it wear longer. The spreader, the basic way it works is the same as the other tornadoes. It's a single chute design. All the grain flows down the V-shaped trough, and the first grain exits the trap door where it hits the deflector. It is metered onto that deflector. That gives it a very consistent rotation. The grain has to be kicked back to the center. There's nothing drops out in the center, so your fines distribution is much better than any other spreader on the market. By the time the grain exits the bottom of the V-shaped trough and hits the lower deflectors, it is about self-centered, makes it level in the chute coming down, which also gives it a very good rotation because the grain is hitting the deflectors the same, the whole 360-degree rotation. Your fines distribution is very good. The bend will be very consistent level all the way around. This spreader is built for longevity. You can grease the bearings from on top of the bend. You can adjust the trap from on top of the bend. The spreader hangs from your top collar of your grain bin. You level it up with these 1/2-inch all-thread bolts. This shaft has to be perfectly vertical when it's installed. You can hang temperature cables from this spreader. This shaft is hollow so that you can drop a cable through the shaft, and you've got a cable in the center of your bin to help control your drive. Your next cable has to be outside the swing of the spreader. This particular spreader is the smallest version. It's the Model 50. It is made for the 24 and 27-foot bins. There are 4 models go up to 60-foot grain bins. The 48-foot grain bins and smaller all use an 1 3/4 bearing. These bearings have extra protection built in. There's a rubber gasket mounted above the bearing so that when you install it, you fill that cavity between the bearing and that gasket with grease. It keeps any moisture off the top of that bearing. It helps the bearing last a lot longer. The grease lines here go up top. Like I said, you can grease it from on top of the bin. One of the main advantages of this spreader is you don't have to have your flow centered perfect in the middle of the spreader to achieve a consistent spray. It will always give you the same rotation as long as the grain is being dropped straight down in. If you're dropping it at an angle, it will mess with it just a little bit.